Hello, welcome to Hot Talks with Caitlin and myself, Jemaa. I am an Akashic Records librarian, can tap into energy fields of all that is and receive information. And Caitlin can introduce yourself.
I'm I am an intuitive healer. I work with energy in the energy field, and I work with biogeometry. I do shamanic astrology, and I make jewelry for protection and power.
You make
And
amazing
many,
jewelry too. This is my
oh
power piece.
yes,
I just love this. Yeah,
yeah,
I wear it a lot.
amulets. Yes, I know. Got to make some more of those.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
So today we made a
yeah.
video last time and it got cut off. We were like just getting into some like juicy conversation and the sun, apparently you can't leave your computers and devices in blazing sun because they shut off. So now we're back on and we're going to continue where we left off and add more because I kind of don't remember where we left off except for we were just about to talk about internal family systems. That's what we just
Yes.
so how important it is to recognize just all the energies around us and then family lineage and energies and all of that good stuff.
Yeah, and I was talking about internal family systems as a way to as a model of therapy that really calls back all the parts of yourself and brings them into cohesion. So there's this idea, and it really rang true when I learned about it, that we have all these parts,
Mhm.
and we have for some people who've experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, they have the part that will wants to commit suicide, or
Mhm.
they'll have this, and that's actually one of the protectors. So there's all these like different parts that keep us safe, and they're here, and that one who wants to take you out, if you're in danger, is actually a protector. So it's like how you view them, and then how you kind of make friends and invite in all the different parts of yourself.
Mhm.
So, and this is something we do in shamanic work as well, is like, the parts of us that we've left behind, maybe in childhood or our last relationship that was really traumatic, or, we gotta like, hey, I'm calling back all those. And this is what you do in ceremony too. You really call back all these parts of the self, and you want them, you also want to examine like, oh, is this really a part of me, or is this something else that came in masquerading as a part of you, but
Mhm.
actually is an entity or an energy that
Mhm.
you took on long ago. So
Right.
part of what we were talking about in our midlife mermaid podcast last time, the apocalyptic, which means apocalypse, please.
Apocalypse. I
Definition.
love the word. I've always loved for years the word apocalypse. And then I just was had somebody break it down in this last year, someone I was listening to, like the renewal, the rebirth, the restart of something new, right?
Yeah. So in midlife, we're in this kind of apocalyptic,
Energy.
time where it's like we have to really examine the things that we're doing and really understand, hey, is this for my greatest and highest good? Is this something I want to continue with? Do
Mhm.
I like this relationship? Is it healthy? And all the things that you're doing,
Yeah.
or have been doing. And it's a time to really start to make those changes,
Mhm.
because you're really supposed to be in harmony with your greatest destiny and purpose for this last section of your life
Mhm.
till you depart.
Well, the
So I
menopause,
think
well, then that's
it's
what we talk about, and we usually, it's this is usually our talks are based around, our midlife and menopause, because what we're going through and what you're talking about with the bringing back like our some people call them like soul shards, So, and we can, and they can be from from just this lifetime, like you were saying, through, going through traumas, and they're kind of stuck in that dimensional space and looping. Or it could be in another lifetime, in another dimensional space that wasn't a part of this lifetime. So in that quantum where it's still looping, and those are your soul shards. And so we want to call all of that back into this now moment, which will heal those dimensional spaces where that trauma is happening. And it's super important to do it now, in these
Yeah.
energies. Yeah. And just to do it, period,
Yeah.
for your spiritual growth is calling, yeah, yourself back and making yourself whole, again. Yeah, and going through this
Yeah. And
menopause is, like, extra hard with all of those, but it's beautiful too because it's really deep inner work is what the menopause is, and that's what my monthly moons showed me, that I've always been on a spiritual path, but I realized I was like, "Oh, all these emotions that I go through every month, they're actually deepening my connection with myself and clearing old patterns and seeing things on a deeper level." And that's what this menopause is doing. It's just it's making me see things on such a deep level to clear out and to bring myself back into wholeness. And
right, and we talked about the shift of the energy,
mhm,
right? That it was going from the heart to the uterus, and then now it's shifted in menopause. It's going from the uterus up to the heart.
mhm,
So, and then part of all that it has to do with the lineage stuff too, because often women, we have a history of the wounded feminine, and
mhm,
it comes out in ways when we're with our partner, or there's just like certain ways where it's just kind of classic, how we can't just ask for what we want. We have to kind of get and manipulate, how can I get what I want without, and there's all that is like signs of the wounded feminine, where it's like, oh, why do I do that? Why can't I just be direct? So
right,
there's all these ways that we can start to observe ourselves and see, well, is this me? Is this something else? Is this my
yeah,
lineage? And it's like you don't have to even know like who your family was and these extended great grandparents, because often we don't, where we
mm,
get to the, a certain great and maybe don't know anymore.
yeah.
So, but it's pretty common that there is the wounded feminine in,
Yeah, and that's when you talk,
it's
like, because I'm stuck on the suicide one. Because lately in these energies, which we're gonna talk about the new moon in Leo and everything, but I have a few people in my life that want to exit, and
yeah,
and I'm talking to other friends that have friends that want to exit, like, literally commit
yeah,
suicide and not be here anymore. And so
yeah,
those are like really intense energies, especially for us that are like having to hold space and decipher between those energies. Is it a dark energy trying to pull that person, out of
right,
reality,
yeah. Or is it a protector?
or is it the
You know,
protector going, okay, yeah, this realm is too much, or is it your lineage, your um ancestor that is like, yeah, we had to commit suicide to get out of the crazy war that we were in, and we were going to get captured. So it's so that's why I was milling over that while you're talking, because you sparked there's just so we have to really so then we have to really know ourselves so we can decipher
yeah,
through those energies. Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's interesting with that kind of situation with suicide,
Mhm.
because part of it is like, are you trying to get attention? And is this the way you get attention from
Right.
others? No, I
Yeah.
just want to leave and da, da, da. And then the other part is, how much are you being influenced by what is being projected about this reality,
Yeah.
from the asshole dark, as we call them,
Right.
the all the climate stuff, all the, there's so much projection of doom
Yeah.
and gloom. And it's like people who I could get political, people who just don't want to see Trump in, and they would just feel like, oh my God, it'd be the end of the world because we're being told it'll be the end of the world if he gets elected as a Democrat. So it's like, what are you tuning into? How
Right.
is it influencing your thoughts? Because all of this stuff, this social media, all of that, it's all an emotional
Distraction.
um Loosh,
It's
like, it just
the
wants our
distraction.
emotional energy, like, it almost, like, is the fuel to keep it going. It's
Well,
not actually
yes.
plugging it into the wall. It's like, it's actually pulling our emotions out, and it gets
Right.
something from it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's
it's
pulling us
really
into their reality. All of the it's
yeah,
like such distraction and such just, yuckiness, but it's pulling us because we are the creators of our reality, and so the asshole Dark figured out how to capture our consciousness through all of this and bring us into that and just keep us looping in the doom and
yeah,
gloom, not, just low self-esteem and, "Oh, all of that is part
yeah,
of the movies, the news, like,
yeah.
all of it in our reality is really not real, like, and
Yeah,
when
it's really an illusion.
it's an illusion, and when you
Yeah,
really
but
get
people
that.
buy into the illusion, so I've noticed my mother even is like, "Oh, I'm gonna die here in my apartment," she's very because Biden stepped down, and that reminded her of her father, and, like,
Wow.
if Trump gets in, it's just gonna be the end of the world, even though none of these guys do anything for us, and literally, and so it's just like but, she's bought the program, so,
Yeah.
I can't even talk to her about, the different levels of reality that are actually going on and that actually you can just tune out from politics and just concentrate on your own community and family dynamics, your immediate environment is actually where you can affect things, you
Well,
know?
that's it, and we're all on our own
Yeah,
timeline that we are creating in our own movie, really, in our own timeline, so
yeah,
it's like that
yeah,
we truly are, and the things I
yeah,
don't have it 100% grasp, so I'm not gonna claim that, but I get the concept just like we were talking before, like, I'm like, "Okay, I really," and then because we have our astrological signs that can detour us or, slow us down or not fully grasp, and so it's like my Aquarian, like, "Yes, I know, I got that," but am I really applying it and, uh,
right.
aligning with the frequency of knowing what I'm creating? So, it's
Right. So the Aquarian is very in the mind, and
mhm,
it's like, I know everything. I know, but do you embody?
that's
So
yeah,
then the emotional energy of your Scorpio moon, you
right.
know, and then the Virgo rising, and it's like we both have Virgo rising, very strong, intensified. I've got a lot of planets there too, so it's just a lot. But there is like how everybody is interpreting things is through this astrological
Yeah,
foundation,
yeah.
you know. So
It's it's
yeah, and we
fascinating
have
because
to really
yeah. The internal
yeah, we gotta
conflict that we are
really
talking about, because
internal
there's
conflict.
actual internal conflict where I feel like I'm going a little nutso because my Aquarian wants to do one thing and then my Scorpio moon's like, "No, no, we are not doing that. You need to like go hide in a cave." Aquarian's like, "No," you know. So I'm like, and then the Virgo, my rising Virgo, there's just so much, yeah, inner conflict with that.
Yeah, Virgo's like, let's do ceremony. We gotta,
Yeah.
you know,
And
create,
floating around. "Ah,
the alliance with the earth and all the
ceremony."
elements. Yeah.
Totally.
I
So,
know it's a lot. It's a lot to navigate. And
yep,
once you start to really, because you didn't really even, you knew some things about your astrology, but you really have like tuned in. And then don't you see how it aligns you with the energies? Now you're like, oh, why am I so tired? I'm like, it's new moon. Oh,
and
yeah, it's new moon. And like, then you tune into that energy. Oh, yeah, this is a quieter time.
yeah,
So we got new moon in Leo.
yeah,
Leo is the heart, and about radiance and
Mm,
being in this radical, radiant self-love and self-acceptance.
yeah.
And in this Leo, I'm a Leo moon. My Leo moon, ever since we left Cancer, it was like, okay, I picked up a sword and I'm just like, "Argh,"
So
I'm totally feeling the Sekhmet, fiery,
love it.
feline, yeah, just like wielding the sword.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've had to really like temper and also work with it because it is an energy to work with.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and so this was what happens when we come around to different points on the astrological wheel that
Mhm.
affect your chart, you know, you feel it, and then that's a time to work with that and understand, why do I feel like this? Oh yeah, it's astrology can be very validating
Mhm.
for that if you tune in and you just even just get I have this app that shows me where the planets are, and I go, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'm feeling that." So that's why you can go to astro.com and look up and just peek into it, and when you feel frustrated, like, "What's going on?" Look at your chart, look at what aspects are happening,
But you
and you
also
just
do
go, "Oh, yeah."
astrology readings. So
Yeah, I do
if
astrology
you do
readings because I
astrology reading, Caitlin's really amazing. She's done them for me and really gets me, clear on some things, so
well, in astrology, there's like it's like dental, X-rays. You really wanna, note that it's an interpretation. So when people are doing readings for you, I know a lot of people have had really shitty readings, especially Scorpios, because they're just like, oh God, you poor thing kind of thing. And it's just like, no, it's actually a superpower. It's
yeah,
a shamanic power.
right.
So it's like you got to get out of the negative stereotypes around Scorpio and get into the higher octaves, which is you're the shaman. You
Yeah,
can transmute energy, and that's the whole point,
yeah,
and you are a shadow magnet. So get into the fact that you're going to just, people are going to, their shadows are going to come out
yeah,
around you, and really understand. But if you got a lot of Cancer, you're not going to like that because you don't want to, you're sensitive. And then you're like, I don't want, and that's also a lot of water. So
yeah,
it's like you have to see how you're interpreting the world through the lens. And if you don't have awareness of it, you're doing, most likely you're in the shadow aspects of your sign and your placements in your chart. When
wow.
you start to understand it, then you can be in the higher octaves.
Mhm.
So like I was in the shadow of my Virgo for so many years. Girl, I wish someone would have read my chart long ago and just told me, you know, oh,
Yeah,
you have this, you could be the high priestess. Oh, all right. That's why I'm critical. That's why everything has to be perfect. That's why I'm controlling of the space. I'm actually ceremonialist. So, and then you start doing it. And then remember when you came and did a ceremony with me, you were like, oh,
amazing.
yeah, you had a drum. You were just like, yes, I know all this, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah, it was like,
yeah, it was,
"Oh, I've done this." Yeah, and it's because it just wasn't shown to me. Even though
yeah.
lived in a place where there were ceremonies going on all the time, but I didn't wanna participate in those.
No,
Like
but you know why? Because you want it to be a sacred space. And a
okay,
lot of people don't hold the high integrity. And so there's a like we're hermits as Virgo risings
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
also. And we also things need to be perfect. So if you know that person who's holding the ceremony, you're like, I don't really like the way they do their lives.
Yeah, yeah.
I might not go because I don't. But once you really realize you're protected
Right.
wherever you go,
That's right.
with your relationship to the elements, which is really important for Virgos to be
Yeah.
in, and Scorpios to be in relationship. I mean, I think everyone should be in relationship to the
Well, that's what I was
elements
just gonna
because
say, no matter what your sign is, it really is powerful to do ceremony, like on the new moon or
yeah,
moon, and really put your intentions out there of what you want to create, and get to know yourself. Yeah, and do
yeah, really get to know. Yeah. And join others in circle, you can hold your part of the sacred space. You don't have to be in this perfect
yeah.
kind of
That's yes, yes.
situation. But you want to look for people who really are working with the elements and calling in and casting a sacred circle with the elements
Yep,
during ceremony. That's something you really want to look for.
yep.
Um,
That's yeah.
so So yeah, I think I had this quote from James Hillman, who's a psychologist, I believe, and he said, "To be in an authentic dilemma is a tremendous privilege.
Mm,
It may not feel like a privilege to you at the moment, but through engaging dilemmas in your life, you develop maturity and depth of soul."
mhm.
And that really spoke to me last when I was thinking about doing this discussion with you
Awesome.
because yeah, it's like we don't want to deal with we want everything to be smooth and all that, but
Mm.
menopause is like showing us for sure, right? It's like, oh no, I have to deal with this thing right now. I cannot like go
Yeah.
on. Yeah, so
Well, and
there's
there's
a
so
lot
many
of
components of, and this is for even if you're not so whoever's watching this, not going through menopause, we all have hormones, men and women, and it's finding the balance through diet and herbs and consciousness to balance those hormones. And so it's like really important. It's just that during menopause, it's like super heightened and
yeah,
literal like drops in estrogen and all of that. And but
yeah,
ultimately it is the going inward in that spiritual path. That's all it's showing me is like, oh, that was deep in there that I didn't see before. Like, not being mature in certain areas in conflict.
yeah,
And it's like, whoa, okay. Oh wow, that was in there. Didn't know that. Because things like just surface immediately in this hormone
yeah,
shift. And into
totally.
but the beauty is like moving into that, like the crone, the really like enlightened high priestess, and so like we're moving into this beautiful energy,
Well,
embodying
and it's
it.
wisdom.
Yeah, yeah,
Wisdom is
yeah, the wisdom.
knowledge embodied,
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
thank you. That's what I was
We
trying
can
to say.
know, but do we embody it? Do
Yeah,
we embody
yeah. It's like,
what we're knowing? And
yeah,
that's like the hard part,
yeah,
really. I think
yeah.
we know and
It
we really
is.
know. It is. And this is part of my focus in working with people is I really am trying to impart this whole understanding of this reality
Yeah.
because we've had things like the law of attraction and all these little, you know, hints at what makes up this reality and how we navigate.
Mhm.
Because I've always been so overwhelmed by all the things going on. First
Mhm.
of all, I'm like overwhelmed by even living in a city or living around a lot of people and how is everybody getting everywhere? It's like I'm overwhelmed in a lot of ways in this reality. And what's really helped me to tune in is to really like, oh, what is this reality about?
Mhm.
So, and a lot of these, like Carlos Castaneda and others who have really explored with the ancients
Mhm.
that understanding what their understanding of reality was, and it's been told over and over through time, but it gets lost.
Yeah,
And it really is about our belief systems
it is.
and do we trust in this reality? There's a lot of things here that say don't trust this place. There's
Yeah.
going to be nuclear war.
Yeah.
Don't trust this place.
Yeah.
And that's, since I was a child and reflecting back, I'm like, oh, there's always been. And if
Yeah.
you look at old programs, they're like, well, if we make it out of here, who knows if we're going to make it. And that was in the 80s, right? Or the 70s. It's just like there's
Yeah.
always these threats to our
Yeah.
existence. And that is really more of a distraction
It
than
is.
an actual thing. I mean, it does happen to people, of course. There is wars, there is, that is all happening.
Yeah.
But what our role is to really
But that's
deepen the
what we've been
trust.
focused on, right? That's what they're feeding us. So if we're all focusing
Yeah.
consciously and believing that, then that's actually what's gonna be continually created. Yeah.
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 So if you're taking all that in, it's saying over and over, don't trust this place.
Yeah.
This place is unstable.
Right.
you know? And
Yeah.
then the ancients are always saying, hey, it's not about the outer, it's about the inner. Did
Yeah.
you do the inner work? Because the inner reflects the outer.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of work raising the vibration on people's systems
Mhm.
and their disturbances in the body.
Yeah.
And this is all about, really how do you transmute that
Mhm.
and really do the inner work so you don't have to like be pulled around
Yeah.
by all this energy, like, "Ugh,
Yeah.
it feels crazy."
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it gets down to your beliefs. So over
Mhm.
time I've been like working on different aspects of myself. Why didn't I have a boyfriend? Well, guess what? I hadn't had a boyfriend for a little while and I wasn't confident. I
Mm.
was like, well, it's been a while. So, and then I live in a place, and I've always lived in places like this where they're like, oh, there's no men here, blah, blah, blah. Don't you think it was like that on Kauai too?
Yeah,
I feel
well,
like
no,
people do that everywhere. They're just
it's
like,
a
oh, there's no men. And I
consciousness,
was like,
no man. Oh, there's nowhere to live, and there's these, like,
yeah.
site and I'm like, "No, I just don't believe it." So that's, like,
Yeah, and it's like, that's not
touching
everybody's
on
reality.
it's not
Yeah,
everybody's reality. We create our reality, and you just don't believe the collective because it can be in an
right.
area.
So
There
this
Yeah,
gets into the beliefs, our belief systems.
that's right.
And once I changed that, I was like, "Oh, of course I will have," and then I met someone, like,
Yeah,
right after that.
it's amazing.
And also thanks to you because you had your psychic hits on what he looked like. I was like, "Oh, this is the guy, okay." So,
Yep. Yeah,
anyways,
that's fun.
consult your local psychic for a little extra tips on that.
Yes, and
Jamae
what
is
your
here for
guy
you.
looks
Yeah,
like, when he's coming in. Although I
because
don't know
you nailed it.
well, I don't know
You
when
really
they're
did.
coming. I mean, I can kinda do a little
I
time,
know
but you
timelines are
literally
crazy.
I channeled through what he looked like, and you met him, like, 2 days later
I
or so
know, but for
next
a
day.
while, I was like, "I feel this person around. I don't
Yeah,
know why I do." And I am such a hermit myself,
yeah.
that it's like, well, I never go out. But it was more about my attitude and my
That's
belief system. So
that's
once I
what
changed that, it
yeah,
changed right away. So everything is so quickly turned around if you can like get down with like, oh, well, I don't believe I can really do this or that. It's like get down to why do you believe that, and where does that come from? And sometimes you can trace things, and this is what
mhm,
this kind of healing work does, is you trace it to the root, and you're
yeah,
like, where did that start? Well, maybe a childhood, unstable households, things like that. It's like there's a lot that's working against us, to really believe in ourselves and really
that's right.
trust this
And the
reality.
first step to, like, recognize that is if at all there's a negative thought coming in that is, demeaning you or saying that you can't do that or just any kind of negative where it makes you even feel, like, not good in your body, immediately dismiss it. Say, "Oh, you know what? You're not
Yeah,
allowed in my space." So you have the space to reprogram that program that's trying to come in and loop in there. So we have the power to do that. So it's recognizing immediately, "Oh, wait,
right.
this is a loop that's gonna happen," and it's always you through the negative thinking or, something,
Yeah.
yeah, like that on those lines. And just say,
Yeah,
"No,
I
thank
mean,
you."
we can take on things
Yeah,
through lives where we have this negative voice. Oh, you can't do that, or you're never going to get the thing, or
and, like,
there's like this, like,
be
and then you have to
parts
go,
of
who
us.
is that?
That's
Who are
right.
you? Are
That's
you part
that's
of me? So this
what
is
we were
when it
talking
gets into
about.
that.
Right.
Are you part of me and
Yeah,
are just wounded, or are you something else?
right,
So are you something that doesn't belong with me?
right.
And it's all about free will with the entities and spirits. So you really have to just set your boundaries
Mhm.
in the ethereal. You know,
Absolutely.
only the
Yeah,
light can be here with me. All others must be gone.
that's right.
Get real clear
Mhm.
with that. That's really important.
It is
Yeah.
really important.
I- yeah. And I was talking about the law of attraction and why the law of attraction doesn't work for everybody and it works for some,
Yeah,
because there's this um understanding that, okay, yeah, we can manifest this, we can manifest that, but
Mhm.
also what are you doing when you are not in that manifest mode? Are you telling yourself negative things? Are you like, oh, because there's something about this reality, everything is very hyper magnetic. I don't know if it has to do with the sun and what's going on, or there's just something with the thoughts are so powerful. So if
Yeah,
you have a negative thought, even though you just did this whole thing around manifesting, but then
right.
you turn around and have a negative thought, you're countering
Yeah,
that. So the law of attraction didn't tell the full story,
right.
which is you're always manifesting,
Yeah,
always.
always.
So just
And can you
remember, and then
yeah,
it gets into, people are like, oh, well, you don't want to be light polarized. But really, it's about having a consistent positive attitude, regardless of what's going on, which seems like totally, wacko and not in this reality, but it is a part of this reality
yes.
because I mean, just think about, with someone who has cancer, you're
Mhm.
giving a diagnosis. Now you're taking on this as part of you, even though maybe what gave you that disease in the first place is an emotional thing that happened long ago.
Yeah,
But according to your astrology and everything, you couldn't release it. And now it's manifested into
right.
a bigger problem. But if you align with that, and then take on all the kind of associations with that disease, it's
Mhm.
not going to help you recover.
Right,
What helps you recover in this reality is to almost like not give it attention
right.
and to go, okay, I'm going to plan a vacation. I'm going to plan a vacation in 6 months and I'm
Yeah,
going to make a little deposit on something, just take those steps of like, no, I'm going to, and then your belief, I'm healthy. I'm going to, I'm going to do this because they want me to do this, but I don't really need it. It's like you don't get all into it and,
that's the
really bring
key.
it into resonance with your body.
Right. That is the key. So even if so and that's what I do with myself because I get body stuff all the time. It comes up, but I just for years have known that we are capable of healing anything in the body, like anything, like cancer or like long-term, like fibromyalgia or any of these that's your body, and that's what I've said too is our biggest messenger to us to something's out of balance, which is belief system, lineage, trauma, whatever is going on, diet, maybe even in this physical, so it's like something needs to be looked at when it's gotten that far in the body. And
Yeah.
then we want you
Yeah.
want to bring it back into balance. But yes, that's my point was with the long way is what you just said is if something comes up in my body, I don't believe it. I'm like, nope, not happening. Even though
Yeah.
I had a frozen shoulder for a year and a half, but I made sure I didn't label it. And I mean, maybe once or twice I was like, well, I think I might have one of those things that are called a frozen shoulder that people get, older women, and because they just show up out of nowhere. But I just every was like, nope, my body knows how to heal this, and I am gonna do everything I can, like through herbs and finding the right healers, because it's important, as much as we can heal our own bodies, find healers that can help that you resonate with that can help you heal as well. Like you've helped
Yeah.
me with the biogeometry, but you just
Yeah.
it's my mom told me years ago, fake it till you make it. It's that concept. You
Yeah.
this is not happening.
It sounds like counterintuitive, but it is how this reality works.
Yeah,
Like it really
it
is.
really is.
And
But your
that
consciousness is
is,
strong and
yeah,
powerful. And
so
so
powerful.
it's so powerful. So even though you might be going through cancer, or the frozen shoulder, don't like identify as that's what's going on. I think that's what you're saying too. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go,
don't
"Oh, this."
identify. It's all about resonance.
Yeah, it's all
So if
about
you come into
resonance.
resonance with a diagnosis
Mhm.
and you're like, okay, now I have this thing, now I am this, I am that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's even as simple as like when the electricity goes out, it's like, oh, I have no power. Think about what you're saying. You
Mm.
have to, because literally this reality is so literal
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
terms of like the things we say.
Yeah.
I remember saying, that, "Oh, I have no power." My landlady is like, "No, we don't have electricity right now." It's like, "Yes, you're right. I have all my power
Yeah.
regardless of the
Exactly.
electricity."
I
So
have
it's like you have
yeah,
to really, because words have power.
they do.
Words are incantations
Yeah,
in this reality.
that's right.
So things we speak out, and that's why in ceremony, you have to speak out things. You can't just think it in your head.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really want to manifest this. And
That's
that,"
what
and that."
you told
You
yeah,
can't think it in your head. You
yeah.
have to speak it out because that makes it powerful.
Mhm.
And when you align with your will and intent, I will be this. I intend to this. This is like what Castanedos, the Naguals were talking about.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
is like, they've known this forever,
yeah,
just like this is part of this reality. Intent is everything.
right.
Intent is is like, I mean, intent, trust, belief, all those things.
Yeah,
Even if you are not living it at this moment, you can completely change and
yeah.
shift. So it's super powerful.
It really is.
Yes. Yes. And then it gets into this new moon,
Yes.
which I think is about visions, having visions of the heart. You know, what do you want? What do you want? And deep in your heart. And then hold a vision, go through the whole thing. So this Leo new moon, it's good to take a little time.
Mm,
You can create sacred space really easily. A circle, get something to represent the different elements and put them in the directions, the north, south, east, west. And just call on, start to develop a relationship with the elements if you don't already have one.
mm,
And just like call on them to protect the space, and then create some time to just visualize the things you want deep in your heart,
mm.
what you want for others or the collective, and have the whole vision and imagine what it would feel like if that vision was true, and kind of do that whole activity around the new moon and then release it, and don't obsess on it. You can't think about it over and over. You have to release it after that,
Yep.
and then move on and do some things like break your habits, break some kind of patterns you're doing, like even where you get gas somewhere at a different place,
Mm,
walk a different way to your car from the house, wake up and do something completely different for 5 minutes,
yeah.
where you usually make coffee or whatever. It's like you can, if I have had so many magical experiences where I call something in, and then the next morning I break my patterns. For
Mm,
most of the day I try to do like 4 or 5 different things, starting with the first thing I do, because I love to wake up and make a cup of coffee and like be at the altars. So I just do something completely different. I go outside, I don't have coffee till later, whatever. And then you'll see how fast, because you confuse this kind of reflective quality of this reality, because there is like a natural AI in this reality already that's giving us our thoughts and our beliefs.
mm,
So everyone's like the AI and the computer. We already have that. We have that
yeah,
24/7 with our thoughts and our beliefs and what we're calling out, So you confuse it by breaking your patterns. And
yeah,
we're all such creatures of habit. It's such a really the most impactful thing you can do when you're trying to manifest something
that's right.
is just to break your patterns completely. It's like really, I can't tell you how fast things change. when you break your pattern. Sorry, I'm having a light. I'm
Like,
slipping into the
the light is
yeah, so
Oh, I love it. No, and it does I like, 'cause we are creatures of habit, and that can create, um, just a monotonous loop, and then the old patterns,
yeah,
so that you don't even not even aware of because you're so used to just being, like, kind of on autopilot, and so it's like you gotta break
right.
free from that autopilot to have things really, align and manifest. Yep. I did
Yeah, and
that,
it can be
uh
simple things.
this morning. I waited to make my coffee. I, like, did other
Oh,
things.
good.
Yeah, and then I was like, "Ah, I really gotta have my cup of coffee." But it felt good.
And you can kinda play with this reality, being like, "Oh, no, I'm gonna go," like, kinda make a little plan, like
Mhm.
you're gonna go do something and then completely do something else. See what happens.
Yeah, I love that.
It's
True.
magical. It is magical.
No, I've done that too, where I was like, "Ha I bet you guys thought I" or whoever I'm talking to, because 'cause I'll have a plan because I'm always in the moment too, so but I'll have a plan, and then all of a sudden, I'm doing something completely different than what I have planned.
Very Aquarian
But
of
then I
you,
think,
by the way.
was that really planned? Or was my other plan not really planned? Yes. It's
Yeah, and then you'll start to notice all the synchronicities that
yeah.
are happening,
Yeah.
because this reality is here to knit together all the things we really desire. So,
There's so much magic and synchronicities. I'm seeing them
so much magic.
so much. Like, even down
And
to
this is where
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, well, I was
Go ahead.
gonna say, I was on the phone and I said a word and I forget where I was, but I was like, I think I was at a store and I said a word and I looked down right when I said the word, that word was right there. And it wasn't
I
like a
know.
physical word.
I
I'm like,
know.
why is that even in the grocery store? Yeah, it was just like it was, and I was
Yeah.
like, synchronous is just little things like that.
Yeah, it's really synchronistic. It
Mhm.
really is. And, another thing that I really think where we can see the magic is through like Mandela effects. And like why we have Mandela effects, why they exist is to show us we can change our past. We can
Yes,
completely change.
totally.
So,
Yeah,
you have this rough beginning here on this realm and it keeps coming in.
yeah,
You keep bringing in that last relationship. You keep because
yeah,
you haven't resolved it. And you literally can work through it. Then once you work through all the details of like what happened and why, and then you can just like recreate your
yeah.
past.
That's right.
You can just
That's
be
right.
like, recreate your birth story, recreate, start from the beginning.
Yeah,
If you didn't like the way things were when you landed, just like start
totally.
over
Start.
and recreate it. You'll change the trajectory. And
Yeah.
this is why the Mandela effect exists,
That's
you
I
know?
agree, yeah, because there's so many Mandela effects there, it's like,
No,
wow,
it's like thousands and thousands and thousands of
thousands of
them.
them. Yeah, and
But I
there's
think it's funny because people are just talking about them and like, going over why, and it's really, no, this is showing us about retrocausality
yeah,
and that we can change the
and that we
past.
really are in an illusionary, like,
Yeah,
reality,
it's a
and, like
total fucking illusion.
yeah, my friend Chris Onatra, he's like,
F-bomb.
we're in a dream right now. We're actually dreaming this," and so and now there's
I
all
mean, people call it a hologram, people call it a simulation, you can
yeah,
call it whatever you want,
yeah,
but really the rules are firm. The
yeah,
rules of trusting, belief, the
yeah,
inner versus the outer, it's
and
like
most it's just
all
that unconditional
that's
love.
what you gotta focus on.
Yeah. Well, and just being in
Yeah,
love with being here and and just feeling love in your heart and like you were saying earlier, like no negative thoughts coming in. You can't it's yeah, well, the law of attraction. If you're trying to manifest something, but yet you turn around and like gossip about somebody, that's when it cancels out what you want to manifest because that's a lower frequency.
yeah,
So things that you want to manifest are in a higher octave or frequency. Yeah. And so that's our
yeah,
lesson is I think the biggest lesson is really loving each other no matter where we're at, no matter what our beliefs are. honoring the other
Yeah.
person and loving them with our full heart, um, and just and allowing people to be who they are and believe what they want. Unless they're doing harm, then that's I'll
Well,
send it
I
back to
mean, but
source.
also, yeah, we're not here to like save the world,
No,
honestly. And if you haven't saved yourself, which means gotten down with what you are really needing in this world, then,
um,
you're not going to be much help anyway. So it can be like, because people get like, oh, well, how are you tuning out of politics? Or don't you want to make things better? And I'm like, how has politics made things better?
yeah,
Honestly,
yeah.
it's like literally like, and then I'm the bad person. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
Well, it's just we
I'm
won't
the real person.
never been involved in politics, and I've had a nice
I have.
like, I just don't get involved because that's and I think at a young age, I mean, I didn't know it, but now looking back, because I didn't believe in anything that the news would try to feed us or the I just stayed out of it. I stayed in my
That's right.
lane.
You knew everything. Young Aquarian.
That's right. I knew everything. I know everything.
She
I
knows
knew
everything.
and I didn't
Aquarians,
know everything. I
Aquarians are I know.
I know.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't I somehow yeah, no, looking back then though, like when they would say, "Oh, the bird flu is coming out," and I'd be like, "Don't believe in it." And it just wouldn't affect me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
thankfully, whatever agreement I had coming into this realm, I think that was one of them. Like what
Well, I was raised in Berkeley mostly, so I've had, a lot of years of political
okay, yeah.
just alignments of being on the good team and the good people, But then post COVID, I was like, I like the good people are not the good people. And this is all a game.
That's
So, and then I started really tuning into the understanding of this reality. And then you can see, oh, yeah, this is part of the manipulating distraction.
yeah.
So, and
We
nothing
have to
changes.
decipher that. We have to like see what it yeah,
We
because
have to decipher. I
it's
know, but we're
light and
like,
dark. We have to like there's gonna be manipulate there's like you said, it's always gonna be there. Like even though we're going,
yeah,
because I'm like, oh,
always going to be there.
it's always
And
gonna
it's
be
always
there.
going to
It's
be
just
trying to get us into one side or another,
yeah.
and just that is the
So we have to
that's
recognize
the
it
giveaway right there.
and
That's
avoid
the
it.
giveaway with information. It's like, is it trying to get you on one team or another? If it is, then it's part of that psyop counter psyop game
Right.
that has been revealed a lot. A lot of the rappers I grew up with, loving were they were counter psyop, and they were there to get other you know, um, people into the prison system,
Yeah.
It was like very like NWA, a lot of CIA. CIA has been in everything.
Right. Yeah.
So, and
That's
it's the only one that went against that plan was Robert F. Kennedy. He was shot because
oh,
he went against it.
oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
So,
My daughter
yeah.
brought me a cup of coffee.
Oh,
She waved at me
oh
through
my God, it's late for
the
coffee.
glass door. She's like, "Do you want some coffee?" And I was like, "Yes." "You're drinking coffee. What time is it?" "Yeah, I like my nightly coffee."
5:30.
It's it's not she says
That's so
not
nice.
strong. It's more of
Yeah, yeah.
the
Oh, that's so nice.
hot coffee.
Mhm.
Oh, it's funny. But yes, that yeah, that's
Yeah.
that whole agenda, that whole yeah, the psyop within the psyop, yeah, the CIA, they're
Yeah, so, we're in a heavy time right now politically with that. So just be aware when you're getting pulled in. Just
yeah,
be
yeah,
aware and look back and go, what has changed?
yeah,
What has changed in the last 8 years that we need to keep promoting that? Nothing. It's the same stories. It's the same repeat. And that's the thing is these guys, the asshole dark, don't have a very large playbook. It's like the same
yeah.
stuff over and over,
Well, I
right?
think that's where the great awakening or the ascension, I know those words that you're like, "Ah," because it's always been there, but, it's
Well, it's
recognizing
always going on. That's my thing.
right. So, but there's enough of us that are seeing that that's going on, and we're like, no, we're not going to be a part of
Yeah.
that. And we're creating we're getting back to our original timeline is what it feels like. It's just amazing. That's why it does feel like a huge movement going on consciously, like when I
Well, I
go
think there's many rounds of that have happened. So, I
yeah,
mean, whether it happens, but we can't rely on the collective, is what I'm saying. We can't rely on the collective, you know,
right.
pulling all of us out. All we can do is if we do our work, we are aligning with that.
That's it.
So,
It's all the
but
inner.
we can't be like, oh, we're gonna wake up and there'll be no more darkness because this is it's a dualistic reality.
Mhm.
It's light and dark, dark and light. It's
Or we've been
it,
pulled into a dualistic reality. That's, I think, is the wake up, is we're getting out of that dual reality. That's what, to me, that's what this conscious shift is choosing to not participate with the dark anymore. That's,
yes,
because it's so dark. It
yeah.
got out of balance in whatever reality because they were able to
It's
manipulate
always been
us
dark.
and pull us into this
Always been dark.
what's that?
It's always been dark. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just there's always the dark has always been really fucking dark.
right.
So, but I understand what you're
You
saying.
know what I
But
mean?
I also just like some people they lose hope because it doesn't happen in the collective, in the timing. So you just
Yeah,
have to keep
timing.
focused on your reality,
That's right.
you
Yeah.
know, because we can't rely on, the Great Awakening.
No, no, no.
That's always, I've
No, I
heard
know.
that so
Yep.
many times. It's
That's
like,
yeah.
I love the idea of it. It's great, but
I
still don't let,
don't rely
pull you.
on like hot dates of like, oh, everything's gonna be amazing in 2029 or
Yeah,
20 next year
exactly.
or this
Because
day.
everything's cyclical.
Because that's
Everything's
yeah,
cyclical,
yeah.
you know,
That's
so
on
we
the
can't,
outside of us, instead of like we can actually create peace and happiness and joy right now in this
yeah,
reality, in your own
right
person.
now in this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this Leo moon
Yeah,
Sunday,
yeah.
try to focus on your vision, even if you can't do a little ritual, just, what is my vision for my heart?
Yeah, write it down. Like, so if do like a little vision, uh, on pen and paper. Um, I just,
However you like.
yeah. And vision boards. I just recommended that to a friend. I was like, you know what? I think you would enjoy doing a vision board. I'm not one to do vision boards, but they do work. And you just, it's very artistic. It's like you put on this vision board like clippings of magazines or beautiful pictures, words that you like, and I've heard so many stories where like, oh my god, I got the car that's on my vision board. Um, but yeah, do a little
Yeah.
ceremony, yeah, on on
And
the moon.
focus your dreams. Focus your dreams. You can also, in your intention before you go to bed, you can be like, okay,
Yeah,
show me the vision in my dreams. I've been doing that a lot with the dreams lately, just really focusing the intention. Just
yeah.
like in this waking reality, in the dream reality, it's all about the belief systems and the vision and what you want. You can focus your dreams. You can ask for solutions to problems in your dreams. And yeah, I've been getting a lot just with focusing the intention.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
don't get caught up in there's complicated practices and all kinds of things with lucid dreaming and stuff. I tried dream journals, all that stuff. And
Wow.
I really find this just focus the intention before bed and then writing things down a little bit when I wake up. If I have like a message, like I
Mhm.
had peas in the pod were my, like my dream vision this morning. It was weird. But
Oh,
the
that's
other morning I had a dream and I really want to create a dream group. That's where we
that'll be
talk about it
fun.
because wouldn't
Yes.
it be fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had I had this amazing dream that I had, like, all these things were in action, and I was doing all this stuff that I really want to do because, of course, I'm cultivating new stuff midlife. As I say, I'm doing this and I'm working with the elements of this reality and the
Yeah.
different things. So this is why I'm feeling so, like, empowered in what I'm saying about this reality, because it is shifting things
Yeah.
to really follow this information.
That's right.
Um,
It's
and
working.
it's like, "Oh, okay. I see what they're saying now. I understand." So anyways, I woke up and then I looked at my phone, and my friend had left me a message about she had this great dream about me doing all
Oh,
these things, and I was in her favorite car, which was like a red Jeep. And
oh,
anyway, she just had this great dream, and I just came out of this dream where it was like, "Oh, yeah, I had everything I've been working towards and wanting and desiring."
oh, that's
And she had
awesome.
this, and I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah,
And I told her, "Well, when you dream about others, you're dreaming about an aspect of yourself."
yeah.
So,
They are
it
great.
was like a
Like,
reflection
yeah,
of her too.
dreams are
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah,
they
my
are
dream,
amazing.
yeah,
They're really powerful.
they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's clues in what you can do and work on yourself in
Oh,
this way.
clues.
Like when yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have dreams
I know
into
the other day.
and prophetic dreams. Sometimes it's a little bit
Yeah.
different, but to me, that's always
Yeah.
like, "Okay, I'm on the right path. I'm supposed to be right here at this time." And yeah,
Yeah. To
and
help you trust. Yeah.
yeah.
Because it's all about trust. You gotta trust
Didn't
this
you say
reality.
you had night terrors when you were little, right?
Yeah, I had a negative spirit around me for
Okay.
much of my childhood.
Oh,
So this spirit would terrorize me in the night.
uh, and
And
that's not
yeah,
uncommon.
it followed me. I know it's
Yeah.
very common. I think it's so common that they just say, "Oh, there's just a point in children's lives where they get nightmares," and that's really not right. And
No,
these are doctors that say this,
yeah, yeah.
so they don't really
Know how to clear
understand
those.
intimacy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I didn't know, my parents didn't know what, they'd take me to doctors, like, "She's screaming bloody murder in the night." I don't know why, I was having sleep paralysis. I was having something was on me in
Oh,
the night,
I've had
and, I
those.
would surround myself with my
Yeah.
stuffed animals and sleep with the light on, and then, started wetting my bed, like, in the 3rd grade, 2nd, 3rd grade, like, just weird stuff was happening. And it
Wow.
went on for a long time, and then it would only come back when I was older, because it was with me until about 29 when I
Wow.
finally. Yeah, but it wouldn't come around very often because I it would only come around when I was in fear, and
Okay.
I went to
Oh,
sleep
yeah.
in fear. So, and then so every once in a while, it would terrorize me, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, but it wasn't as bad as when I was a child. When I was a child, it was really bad.
Children are so
So.
susceptible and pure and like you don't know how this realm works yet when you're little.
Well,
And
and they're closest to spirit.
yeah.
So,
Right.
and I was a child who spent a lot of time alone. I was very self-amused. My mom had a baby, my brother. She was very overwhelmed, and I
Yeah.
was just independent. And in the 70s, we're just like, go outside and wander around the neighborhood.
Totally.
you know. So we lived in all these old houses, and I remember when it happened, and I remember a lot of things looking back. You know, what happened, and it was like a man, kind of molester spirit,
God.
and, yeah, I did finally chase it away when I was on Kauai, so it was powerful, and I had to do a few rounds of that to
Okay.
get it to really go away, but we have the power
We do have the
to
power.
you have the power, and I always say to, people I know who have kids, if their kids are having nightmares and doing weird behaviors, like weird sexual behaviors or weird manipulating
Yeah.
stuff where it's not really that they could have that
Yeah.
happening with the child. And one of the best ways to do it, it's old folklore, is the hagstones, the stones with holes in them. Put it
Yeah.
above the bed. Also clear your child with some kind of smudge clearing. just salt baths. They
Mhm.
don't have to even know what's going on,
Yeah.
or you can talk about what's going on. There's actually spirits around us, and, going to make sure that, you know,
Yeah. And
you
rebuke, well,
get empowered.
I'll rebuke entities out of spaces in the name of Christ and light, in Jesus' name, because I love Jesus. And that seems to work. Um, when you just, oh, you own that space and you're not allowed in this, around my child, around me, and send them.
Yeah, and regardless of, what religion, or, people get weird about invoking Jesus and Christ and all that, you don't have to. You have the power alone. So
I'm
you
not,
have the
so just
power to be
I'm
like,
not Christian or any of that. I just
no,
love,
it's a
but I know
being of
you
light
do.
that you
I
work
know
with.
you know that, but I'm
So
just letting whoever's
yeah,
watching this, like, I
yeah.
love Jesus, but I'm not like, I don't claim to be Christian or Catholic or, I'm spiritual. I know myself. I know my, higher self. And I can tap into different energy frequencies, and Jesus is like amazing.
Well,
Energy.
in this reality, we're all surrounded by spiritual beings. This is what I talk about on my channel, because people need to understand that we are surrounded by spirits,
Mhm.
entities, energies. We have energies in the earth. We have a lot of energies mixing. There's not like one boundary where it's like this won't cross. And then we have electricity on all that. So there's a lot going on in this reality. We live in the earth, not on the earth. It's so we really have to understand, we can tap into higher selves, we could tap into allies, we could tap into higher elevated ancestors, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
to protect us. So you're calling in people, those
Yeah.
beings that you work with.
Yeah.
I work with my ancestors, certain elevated ancestors, and
Mhm.
I work with the Neteru, Neters,
Mhm.
which are nature spirits. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of connection with the nature spirits, which, I follow a lot of the Egyptian pantheon, but they represent different elements. So it's all like, tied to the elements and to
Yeah.
and their
I'm
powers.
they're, yep. I
So
work with them
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we gotta align with the highest, the greatest, the ones that are here for our greatest destiny and purpose.
That's
You
right.
know, those
Yeah.
are the ones that are here to help us. So we don't have to be overrun with negative energies, entities, all that stuff. So it's important
It is important.
to get your team together.
Get your team together. I love it. Yeah. You have the power.
We have
Um,
the power.
yeah, and sending love to, we touched on suicide and cancer. And so anybody that's going, having to go through that,
Yeah.
holding space for you,
Yeah.
and love to get through those challenging times. So thank you, Caitlin. And I
Thank
guess
you.
we'll wrap it up because I think we've been on for a
Wrap it
good.
up. Two
Did you
air
hear the crow?
signs
Did you
talking
hear the
forever.
crow?
Blah blah blah. I
Blah, blah,
did. It
blah.
was
I
right
think the
when you
crow was like,
said
God, you guys,
that.
bunch of crows. I love our conversations though. So
I know, it's so fun.
yeah, it's so fun. Hot talk,
Hot talks.
hot talks with Caitlin and me today,
Leo
and
season. Hot
hot
talks.
talks. And so I'll put your information in the description, because you're an amazing astrologist, shaman. You're doing moon ceremonies as well. You offer that on your website. So I'll put all that
And
in.
moon mentorships. I
And
offer moon mentorships, which
amazing.
is
Yes,
using your astrology, taking you through the moon cycles. We work at the full moons, the new moons, one on one.
love it.
So it's just to help get people into that mode.
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be like every month, but it's good to like get some hints to like help you if you're like, okay, well, I want to do this, but I don't know where to begin.
yeah,
It's a great way to start.
it is. So check her out. And then I do intuitive readings myself. And like I said in the beginning, I can tap into the Akashic records and kind of and see where any of this that we've just talked about where that is in your energy field and help you clear it, and all that good stuff. So I'll leave that information, and we'll see you on the next hot talk with Caitlin and me. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.